today for food, I have some tilapia fillets. Going to be thawing those out and then feeding them a little bit later. So I'm just working on thawing out my tilapia fillets now, and then that way they'll be ready to eat.
I mostly feed them pellets, but I also do feed them a variety of shrimp and frozen tilapia that I thaw out. I mean, obviously everything's raw, so not cooked. So a high vitamin type pellet that I have.
mostly feed them.
So I feed them pellets, and then other than that, I go ahead and go with tilapia and shrimp. When they're really little babies, they start off on actually night crawlers and other types of worms, chopped up really finely, and then they moved on to shrimp after that. So they can eat squid, clams, scallops, all that sort of stuff. I've just found that over the years, I've mostly feed them a pellet-based food, and then to help kind of keep them really filled up and full, they get some shrimp every now and again, but that's obviously really expensive, so I don't feed a lot of it because I could literally feed these guys 2 pounds of shrimp, so that would get really expensive. But I feed them a few tilapia fillets just kind of to add into some extra food in their diet, and mostly to kind of just make sure to keep them fully up to health, and they like kind of the variety of food as well. So I've found over the years that pellets have been the cheapest food for them and a really good balanced food for them, so mostly I convert them over to a big size pellet, and they will happily crunch down on those and eat them up, and seem to be doing really well on them. But a lot of people will feed them, you know, a ton of fish, smelt, small sardine type fish. I think tilapia is a pretty good food for them. It doesn't seem to do them any harm. I used to feed them directly tilapia all the time. So, hello, the lazy possum. How are you doing? Thanks for coming over to the channel. Also, Peasy, David Keeley, nice to see you back again. Of course, as always, I have people, just so everyone's aware, I have people on Twitch and YouTube chatting in this chat. So if you do not see any questions that other people are typing, it could be because they're on YouTube or on Twitch. I have been raising stingrays for the last 6 years, if I remember correctly. It's getting so long that it's hard to keep up with. It's been 5 or 6 years. I'm pretty sure it's been about 6. So, it's been quite a while. Some of the ones that you do see here in this pond are original ones that I have bred and that I have mixed together with certain stingrays to make a certain color combination and pattern. And other ones are ones that I, purchased and I've had just for many, many years. So all of these stingrays that are in here, though, are 3+ years old. These are my adult breeders. 90% of these are females in here. There's only one littler male in here at this time. So all of these that you see here are females. The largest one is about 28 inches across. So she's rather large. I sell the stingrays as babies. I sell them as small stingrays. So all of these are breeders here. They are my personal stock that I keep and that I have. But when they're smaller, when they're first born, they're about 4.5 to 5 inches across. And it's a lot easier to package them up in plastic bags and oxygen and water and ship them across the US to different houses when they're small versus when they're really big. Yes, I do plan on upgrading. I actually, behind me when I normally stream other stuff, I have a 2,000 gallon pond that I've been building over the last year. And then on top of that, I have another 600 gallon tank. And then I have numerous other tanks in another room. So overall, what you see here is a pretty large pond. It's really a swimming pool, and it's 10 feet across. So it doesn't look that big, but that's a 10-foot swimming pool. And then in my basement behind me when I normally stream, I have a pond that I've been working on, and it will be 3,000 gallons overall. So it's going to be easily twice the size of what you see here. So it's very large. It is. 120 square feet is what my pond is that I have built. Plus I have other space available. As I said, I have another tank on top that's another 40 square feet. So overall, I have, like, what do I have? I have about 210 square feet of actual aquarium space available for stingrays. They take up a lot of space because they, as you can see, they just swim along the bottom constantly, so they need that floor space. You can see sometimes they'll swim up on the sides of the pool. This water is not super deep. It's about 15 inches deep, so it's not super deep for them to swim on the sides. The pond that I have that I'm building will be 30 full inches of water, so they will be able to swim along the sides of the pond as well. But mostly, as you can tell, they just swim on the bottom constantly, so it's all about the floor space as much as possible. How much do you normally get for a baby stingray after the cost of food and everything? It varies on the type of stingray. As you can tell in this, clip here, there are all sorts of patterns and colors. Depending on the pattern and depending on the color, they vary in cost. So, but stingrays in general will cost anywhere between about $250 to $2,000. So it's a pretty large, variance depending on the type of stingray it is, but average I'd say is about $400 or $500. Well, between $400 to $800 is probably about the average. There are stingrays that obviously can cost more money than that, but just at this time, I mean, that's about, kind of what the averages are. There are albino stingrays and other, kind of really exotic ones, but it's definitely a bit of a variety between them. Petting one, so I mostly have at this time the really big one. Actually, she's a really friendly, really docile stingray. She is definitely very much one that I can stick my hands in and I can pet and I can touch her, no problem. A lot of the other ones will just swim away from you. They don't really care to hang around or do anything with you, so she's definitely one that, has been very good, and I've hand-fed her for many years, so it's definitely something that she is very familiar with me and with the process of being touched. But most of the other ones, they would swim quickly away from you, and they're not interested in being touched or having you anywhere near them. So they're just happy to swim away and keep their distance. $2,000, wow, that's crazy for stingray, but I can understand how they can cost that much because the variety of them. Yep, it's, it's all about the specialty. You can definitely see there's a large variety of patterns and, looks to them. So, for certain looks and certain types of stingrays, it's just the same as a dog. You can go out and you can buy a golden retriever for a certain amount. You can go buy a pit bull for a certain amount, or you can go buy, a French bulldog for a certain amount. And then there are others, that are, of course, very specific, colors and tones and everything that, add to that and can make a difference. So it's a lot similar to breeding and having any other animal or stock that you are keeping, and the market works very similar, the same, that there can always be specialties. I will always be trying to grow and continue to, make my stock better and, worth more and more as I go. At the point that I am at this time, I mean, I have a couple little stingrays that I'm growing out for future breeders, but mostly at this point I'm looking to actually just breed more of my stock that I have and probably keep some of the babies that I get from them, because I really do have a wide variety of stingrays and a wide collection that can give me a lot of really neat and valuable stingrays. I just need the time to let them breed and do their thing, and then be able to select, the best that comes from that, and then I can continue to breed those later with the other stingrays that I have. I've really been working hard at expanding my variety of stingrays over the years, just so I have as large of, a stock list to choose from, and I can mix and match and breed the different stingrays together that I have, and I don't really have to go out and buy a lot of stingrays right now. There will always be stuff that I will continue to pick up as I progress, but at this time I really have pretty much, everything that I want and could need to help me at least continue to breed in the future and make progress for what I have in mind of what I want to do. And what I need to do is continuing to be a better breeder and to get better and better stock. I have some fish that's all thawed out now. I actually just take it out of the bag and I throw it in a net, and I throw it in another one of the tanks that I have sitting there. The water's about 78 degrees, so it thaws out pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and start chopping some up with a knife and go ahead and start throwing it in there and give these guys some food to eat. So their mouths are on the bottom, right below kind of their eyeballs area. Obviously you can't really see it from this point of view, but I do have other videos that are on my YouTube channel and such that show stingrays and feeding and all sorts of stuff. If you are interested in going over there and checking it out, by all means, it is available to you guys. So we'll get some food in there, let them get their dinner eaten, and I usually feed them once or twice a day to keep them nice and happy.
This is a stinger off of one of my stingrays. It's about 5 inches long. You can tell it definitely would hurt if it hit you.
So that's a stinger there. Not sure if you could hear me very well. It's about 5 inches long.
You can tell it definitely would hurt if it hit you.
Yeah, I can hear it okay. So they shed their stinger or their barb that's on the back of their tail about twice a year. And it's something where you actually do want to pull them out of the pond or tank because they can injure themselves very easily on them. And I've actually had to take stingers out of stingrays before, so. Hello, Miss Broken. Hello, Big Rick. Nice to see everyone. Thanks for coming over and checking out the feeding video. They're just munching down on their food right now, swimming around, doing their thing. I'll probably be feeding them later some more pellets just to kind of fill in all the food gaps. With so many stingrays in the system, you know, it's really hard to kind of watch and make sure they all get food. So end up just feeding a lot of food to help keep them all healthy and well. And you can definitely tell when you overfeed, and you can definitely tell when you underfeed. You can watch them and see if they're healthy and if they need more food. I'm doing well, Miss Broken. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Doing well. Just hanging out here with everyone, watching the fish, enjoying some of them, and they're enjoying some food. That's what it's all about. I'm sure everyone else is either having dinner, having breakfast, or doing their thing. You'll see the one that's swimming around the top. She's been over there especially playing with the water currents. I changed it around a little bit so there wouldn't be as much splashing in the pool so you guys could see clear. And because of that, one of them is definitely really enjoying playing over there in the current. And they definitely do that. They like to play in the water currents and all sorts of stuff. They're very playful, very interesting, interactive fish, and they're very keen on knowing when something in their environment's changed or what's kind of going on. They definitely have a very smart brain. Who's my first stingray? What are there? There's still 2 in here. I have another one that's in another tank, but the really, really big one there that's at the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side that I touched earlier, she is one of my first stingrays, and then the one that's over there on the left right underneath the water splashing area, the big one, is kind of more brownish, orangish color. She's really actually a real good orange color. It's just kind of hard to see really well in this lighting and on this pond. But she's also one of the first stingrays I got. So still have a couple of them that I originally had from the very, very beginning of starting to keep stingrays. Other ones were bred by them and they're babies of them and that I've had for a long time. Mostly I keep other stingrays and other tanks to make sure that they don't fight with each other. So there are more stingrays, and that water that you see splashing on the far left, actually that over there is another tank with stingrays in it up top. It's actually like a big horse trough. And it's just a big water, you know, horse trough type thing that's set up and has a couple stingrays in it to help separate them and make sure I don't have aggression problems happening. Hello, Ocean Lily. Nice to see you. Tiny round discs with tails. They're not really that tiny. When you actually think about it, you know, they're realistically, you know, 18 to 20, 18 to 30 inches across, so they're actually quite large. This pool that you're looking at, I know it's kind of weird that they're in a pool, but it's just honestly the cheapest way to be able to get a really big, you know, water container. And this pool that you see, it's 10 feet across, so it's actually quite large, this pool. It doesn't look that big, but it's big. It's a lot of water, a lot of space. And when you figure that a pool like this only costs a couple $100 versus an aquarium that was this size would cost a few $1,000s, that's why it's just super easy to be able to use a pool for a temporary holding for them while I'm building my bigger setup. And soon enough, they'll be able to move and go. Here, Ocean Lily, I'll go put my hand on top of the big one there, and you'll be able to see the difference.
She says, I already got the food. I'm not interested in coming over to be pet right now. I was pet earlier. There definitely could still be food opportunities, and they never know. But they gotta make sure and check. But you can definitely tell, they're very large.
So they're definitely not tiny. Yep, as I said before, likes playing in the water splashes over there. It's really kind of a turbulent area, so she's just enjoying playing in it right now. I changed up the water flow, and in my new pond, I'm gonna have a couple water jets that'll shoot across the pond, and they'll actually be able to sit there and just play in it constantly. They should really enjoy it. So I'm kind of interested and excited to see what they end up doing with it, and if they really do like it. I think they will. You know, gotta have, you know, playtime and stuff for the stingrays. Gotta set it up so they like it. Hey, thank you very much for the follow. I do see we got a new follow here. IVI is now following you on Twitch. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Greatly appreciated. Hope you guys are all having a great evening and a great day. The biggest one, is it a guy or a girl? She's a girl. she actually really liked to eat. Ever since she was small, she was the first one to take to pellet food, and she just, would eat as much food or more than a human being would all the time when we would do feedings. And she just honestly grew so fast, and she loved food so much, we actually nicknamed her Fatty. Which I know may not be the nicest thing to call a girl, but she really liked to eat. She seemed to constantly enjoy eating, and she always was really big and just loved it. So we nicknamed her Fatty, and that's who she is. And all of our friends and everyone knows that is Fatty the stingray, and she's giant. She really is. I mean, she looks big there, but yeah, I mean, she's really big. One of the biggest ones that I've ever seen in a home aquarium, or the largest one, honestly, that I've ever seen. I mean, she's massive. So the black and white dotted ones look super cool. Yeah, the black and white dotted ones, they're definitely a higher end stingray. They're worth more money. They have a higher value to them, so they're definitely worth quite a bit of money. I've actually been mixing some of the brown type stingrays with the black and white spotted ones, and that's where you get, some of them, they look like, you can look here down over by the water spray where the one's always playing. There's another one there that it's kind of a little bit more of a, darker chocolate brown maybe with white spots. There's a few in here that I've bred that are hybrids between the two different types of stingrays, and eventually as I keep breeding them more and more, I'll be getting, more interesting and crazier patterns on black and white bodies and stuff. So it's a progress and a constant evolution of stingrays and trying to get better patterns and different looks. So if I will be called Fatty, I'll slap whoever that is. Well, she's splashed me a few times, so I think she's getting even with me. But she really likes to eat food, and she's always been pretty dang big, and she's grown to a huge stingray, so it's kind of a funny nickname that's really taken on, and that's just who she is. Everyone knows her by that name, so. But I've had her for about 6 years along with the other one, and they've been great stingrays, so really enjoyed them. I've enjoyed all of them. But definitely having them and knowing that you grew them out from little tiny baby stingrays to, adults, it's definitely really something special, especially when you've, bred them and you've mixed them together and you've created something that's very one of a kind. It even gets more special. So it really is, a rewarding and a challenging, hobby at the same time. It's very unique. It's definitely not quite like having your dog at home or having a guinea pig, but there is a lot of similarities to it at the same time that, especially if you're a breeder, you're breeding for, colors and, certain stats and features and things that you, think are the best. And that's what you're, working towards. So the stingray is coming there towards the front. She won't stop too much there. She's really an active stingray, but she has a really intricate pattern. I wish she would stop real quick so you could really see her really well, but you can see that it's kind of, as the camera's trying to catch it all, it's really hard with the waves. Her pattern is just, outstanding. And if you actually looked at the thumbnail on YouTube for this stream, that's her. And she has a really neat, intricate pattern. And she's called specifically a mantilla stingray, which in Portuguese means like a really intricate, type of a scarf or a shawl that's usually made out of, lace and really pretty stuff. So is breeding them like your job, your income? It is definitely part of, it is part of my life and a lot of my life. It's a very big thing and it's a very big task. So it's something that I'm very active and committed in. So it is all part of me. So it is what I do. The fish that are in here at the moment, they're honestly nothing really too special. A lot of the time they will help just kind of, stingrays are pretty messy fish, and also with just feeding a lot of food, there will be little scraps and pieces that'll be left over. So especially when I'm feeding pellets and stuff. So a lot of the time they're just kind of in there as kind of extra kind of cleanup. They'll go around and vacuum the bottom of the tank, kind of clean up any little gunk and little pellets and mixture of food that's left over. Also, there's a number of them in here that are there's a variety of fish. Most of these, all of these fish are tropical warm water fish, but some people, if you might notice, that there's actually koi, which is a cold water fish, and usually mostly put in ponds. And there's, I think, 5 koi in here right now at the moment. So, fish can obviously, even though people say that, fish should be at one specific temperature, they can definitely change, and they can, vary between the hot and the cold to a certain extent, of course. This is definitely, right at their about top limit for what they can handle for a warm water, situation. But a lot of these, they're in here, and they're actually going to go later into the pond and be used for conditioning the pond. When you first set up a pond and you set up fresh, brand new water, it honestly is actually too clean and too good for fish. I know that kind of sounds funny, but it really is. Water actually has to be kind of conditioned, and it takes a little while to get, set up so the fish can actually live in it really well. So a lot of these fish that are in here will go into the pond that I'm building, and they'll start to make that conditioning process of the water good and set up for, the stingrays to eventually live in it. So everyone's just happy getting along, though, and they'll continue to kind of clean up and take care of things. I do have to be careful, if the stingrays are not fed really well, the stingrays can start to attack or possibly eat the other fish that are in here. They definitely are very much a predator fish, so it is something you got to be careful of and watch and make sure that they're not eating each other. But that's all part of knowing what you need to do and feeding them enough food so they're happy and they're not going to try to eat their neighbor or their tank mates or their other fishy friends who are not so flat. However you want to look at it. But thank you guys for all asking all the questions and taking a look at everything. It's definitely a big part of my life, something I've enjoyed for years and years. And, definitely starting to stream and show, more of kind of my life as everyone does. It's just been something that I've been really happy that I can kind of share and talk to people about. And people can hopefully be informed and interested in stingrays. They definitely are very neat and unique creatures. Something you definitely do not find or see everywhere that often at all. But they're taking over my life very quickly, and they definitely have, especially for how much space they take up. They require more and more space, and it would always be nice to have more and more and more of them, in my opinion it would be at least, but with each and every one you have, that's that much more space you need, and then that's that much more food you have to feed, and then that's that much more water you have to clean and keep fresh, and then that's that much more, big pumps that you have to push and move that water around, and it all adds up really quickly. So what I'm saying is, this is not a hobby for everyone. The costs add up really quickly and can be quite expensive. It's not cheap, but it's really enjoyable, and I truly enjoy it a ton. I do think for another stream, I'll probably show one of my smaller tanks. We could take a look at, some of the other grow out fish that I have, and stingrays. I have a couple that I'm growing out in a smaller aquarium. So, is this pool like at your house, like in the garage? No, this is actually, it's in my basement. So it's actually in a room of my basement. If you actually look at the top right-hand corner of the screen, that's actually a window over there. So, and then you can see that that's actually a studded wall and insulation. So this is actually in my basement, and it's set up here in one of the larger rooms of my basement. And then, as I said, I will be moving these all to their permanent residence, which will be in the room that I'm actually in and that I normally stream all my content from. So they're just hanging out over there and enjoying life until the big move happens. I got a really big net for the really big move, so it'll be exciting. Maybe we'll have to do a live stream for moving day. Could always be entertaining. They're heavy too. They're very heavy, thick, muscular fish, so they're not light. And they could be a challenge to move too, because you pretty much have to grab them. grab them by the tail and pick them up, which is fun because they're kind of, you know, not really like a super slimy fish, but they have a slime coat just like all normal fish do. So they're, you know, they have a slime coat and everything else like that. So it's pretty fun. And they have a big barb on their tail that can kill you pretty much. And they have a whole bunch of sharp spikes on their tail as well. And, you know, it's a good time. We'll put it that way. But I think that's going to be it for today. I just wanted to kind of bring this one. You know, I'm going to definitely plan to do some more streaming of the pool and the pond, you know, especially as it gets put behind me and we start setting it up and getting everything going. Also would like to start streaming, you know, I can pretty much watch them and tell when they're going to start getting really close to being, you know, giving birth. And it'd be really fun to actually do a live camera feed that will constantly just stream when we're getting closer for them to give birth. And then it would be something where, honestly, we could, you know, we could see it happen and see the babies and everything. I mean, it's pretty unique, obviously, as always. So definitely something you don't see every day. So we'll see if maybe that's something interested or possible. I'd imagine the internet usage of a stream going for like a few days in a row could be pretty expensive and interesting. But we'll see what's possible. But thank you guys, as always, for coming to check out the stream. I appreciate it. Hope you guys learned a little bit or are interested in stingrays. Write me some questions. Let me know. I'm more than happy to go over anything with you. And, you know, if you have a fish tank or an aquarium at home and you need some help or advice, I can always, of course, try to help you there as well. Because I've been taking care of fish for over 20 years now, almost at this point. So it's definitely been a big hobby and a passion of mine, and it's grown to uncontrollable proportions at this rate, to fish that are quite large and fun. So we'll see you guys here a little bit later. We're going to be streaming some PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. It is a computer game, if you're not aware of what it is, a little bit later, having some fun. So thank you guys, and we'll see you a little later. Ocean Lily, Miss Broken. We also, of course, had our new subscriber, and David Keeley, also known as Professor of Science. Oh, Professor of Science was here. David Keeley was here. No, David Keeley was listening himself to something else on my previous stream. Everyone's so confusing. There's so many big names. Big Bick was here also. Big Bick 42069. Thank you very much for stopping by. You guys have a great time. We'll see you on the next stream. Enjoy. I feel like I should say like one of those, you know, make sure to get your pets neutered and spayed or something like that, but I'm not going to, even though I just did. Just remember, a goldfish can be a friend for life as well as a dog. Deep.